What I'm about to talk about today will probably be a little bit controversial. I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me. I'm sure a lot of people won't. But it's the idea that you don't have to be happy all the time. And two, as a man especially, you don't even want to be happy all the time. And I want to start by saying that if you were happy all the time, 24/7, you wouldn't even appreciate it. The only reason you appreciate being happy is because you felt sadness before. And if you were happy all the time, that would just be your baseline. You wouldn't know any different. And not only is that not possible, but you wouldn't have any motivation or any ambition to do anything. Like if you were in a state of 24/7 contentment, 24/7 happiness, you would be stuck in the exact same place your entire life because nothing ever got under your skin enough to actually get you up and make a change. And I've looked a lot into like a bunch of these massive historical figures that have made huge accomplishments and done a bunch of remarkable things. Like you think about like Mike Tyson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. All of these guys had very troubled past. They had things in the back of their, like in their psyche, in their mind that were always eating away at them. And I would go as far as to say that they were driven by some very, very dark negative forces that would honestly be very, very scary to look at by like from, you know, the outside perspective, because I don't think people truly understand what actually goes into, you know, like becoming the best at something, becoming the greatest of all time at something. Like Michael Jordan, yes, of course, he was very competitive. He wanted to be the best, but lots of the times he would wake up, I'm sure, and he would be so miserable and so discontent and so unhappy about where he was and what he was doing that he had to kind of channel those darker energies that he had going on in his brain to actually make that change and get better and continue growing and continue pushing himself to the maximum. You need to have something that actually gets you up and drives you to do things every single day. But I'm telling you, I've seen it so many times where, especially with men who get a girlfriend or whatever, they have a decent job and their life is just good enough. They are just happy enough to just stay right where they are. And I'm not going to say that's a bad thing, but if you are somebody that truly wants to make a massive impact on the world, that is the worst place you can possibly be. Because at the end of the day, life is just a measure of what you can tolerate. And people think that just because they can tolerate some terrible lifestyle that they didn't choose, that somehow that makes them some super strong, tough warrior. The only time you should have a high tolerance for pain and a high tolerance for, you know, problems is when you choose them, because pain is something you can't avoid. Like pain is always going to be there. Problems are always going to be there. But if they are not given to you by yourself, then you should not tolerate them. You should not tolerate a terrible lifestyle that you didn't choose. But I am going to say that if you go down a path that you choose, you are fulfilling the exact destiny that you want. The pain that you get from that, because there's going to be pain, it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult. That is what makes you stronger. Solving those problems and going through that pain is what it's beneficial to you, unlike the pain and the problems that you don't choose from a lifestyle that you don't like or, you know, didn't choose. And I just want people to understand that every single emotion that you feel, no matter what it is, the pain, the sadness, the happiness, the despair, the anxiety, those are all useful emotions, and it is ignorant. It's not possible to think that you can only feel the positive ones, because the positive ones, yes, they feel great in the moment, but the ones that give you the most energy, the ones that actually push people and drive people to do insane things, are all the negative ones. And I don't think people can see far enough into the future, or at least zoom out far enough to realize that the negative emotions that they feel, you know, they all have a message. They all have something that you can use to move yourself forward, to push yourself up. I'm telling you right now, every single time that I've been in a place where I've been extremely sad, extremely, you know, depressed, angry, whatever, it's hard to see what that's doing for you at the time. But if I never went through those things, if I never felt those emotions, then I wouldn't be, you know, where I am today. I wouldn't have the goals that I have. I probably would be in a completely different place. Once you come out on the other side, that's really when it makes sense, because nothing really makes that much sense until you look back in retrospect and you see what exactly it did for you. Because I'm telling, like, I guarantee you that you've gone through things, you've had your heart broken, you've felt pain before, you move on, and then you realize, like, I just got so much stronger and so much wiser from that. I'm glad that I went through that. Because if you think about it, lots of the reasons why people do things, they're a result of some sort of insecurity or some sort of place of lack that they've kind of noticed or picked out or experienced early on in their life or sometime in their life. Like, for example, I was a very, very skinny kid growing up. People would say that I'm skin and bones, like twig, whatever. Of course, that didn't feel good to me at the time. It never, I never wanted to be called that. I never wanted to be this super skinny kid. But somewhere in my brain, I didn't even realize this, but it made me, want to go to the gym, want to get, stronger, want to build muscle. That was what drove me to get in just really insane shape, because it was a place of insecurity. It was somewhere that in my mind that I thought I was lacking and I needed to fix. And I compensated for it by just going into the gym and getting jacked and getting super healthy. And this is what happens to so many people. Like Mike Tyson got bullied as a kid. And if you think that Mike Tyson would have gone on to be one of the biggest, baddest heavyweight boxers of all time without getting bullied, like you're tripping, because he had that in his mind every single day he was training, every single time that he was, fighting. That was what was driving him. And of course, again, he probably wanted to be the best, but you can't have one without the other. Like if someone just wants to be the best, and they don't have anything driving them, they don't have any pain, or they don't have anything that's truly getting them up in the morning, and they don't have a reason, they don't have a why. I'm not betting on that guy compared to somebody who wants to be the best and needs to be the best, and like also has that pain and that darker energy driving them every single day. I'm taking that guy every single time, because there's nothing that can throw him off course. There's nothing that can get in his way, because he has this drive, this intangible energy that's just pushing him so hard every single day. And so if you have that darker, troubled past, you have things that have hurt you, you have pain that you've gone through. And I think that if you were able to integrate the pain and use the pain, it sounds cringy, I know, but if you use it along with the desire to be the best or get what you want, you are unstoppable. And I will die on that hill every single time you feel one of those negative emotions or sad emotions, or you're in a stage of life where it just doesn't seem like anything's working out. I want you to take it for what it is. God, universe, whatever you want to call it, is tearing you down like a muscle. You go into the gym, right? What do you do? How do you build muscle? You literally break down your muscles. You create little micro tears in them, but then, a couple days pass and they get stronger, they get bigger. That is exactly what happens to humans, to people. If you can go through those pain points, go through that heartbreak, go all of it, then you are going to be in a much better position. You're going to be stronger than 99.9% of people, because most people can't handle it. Most people don't go through those, periods of darkness, periods of pain. But those that do, and they get through it and they become stronger, you have such a massive advantage over everybody else. It's like a color wheel. You only can see how white is because you've seen how black is. It's the opposites. It's the contrast. They wouldn't exist without each other. And that's how I want you to treat, bad situations, good situations, bad emotions, negative emotions, good emotions. And one thing I want you to understand, I want you to find peace in the fact that every single emotion you feel, none of them are permanent. Not a single one, not a single time you're going to be happy it's going to be permanent. Not a single time you feel sad is going to be permanent. And if you can just accept the fact that nothing in life is permanent, except for the fact that everything changes, then it makes it much easier to just ride the waves and roll with the punches, because it's unpredictable. Life is so unpredictable. And if you are living through your spirit and through your heart, I truly believe that everything that you are meant to have will come to you. And those experiences of pain, those experiences of sorrow, all have a purpose. And that's really all I have to say for this video. I hope you kind of kept an open mind with this, and I hope you kind of maybe had your perspective changed. Again, I'm sure people agree with me. I'm sure people don't. And so if you have any thoughts or comments, things that you wanted to add, or just any thoughts about it, feel free to leave them in the comments below. But thank you for watching. Until next time, peace out.